any chance you're going to do a video on the 3 hidden elven realms, Doriath, Gondolin, and the Norgothrond? I'll try. I'll probably give each one its own video though, just to do it justice, and so the video isn't like 5 hours long. So let's go with the first one you've mentioned there, which is Doriath. Doriath was known as the Guarded Realm and the Hidden Kingdom, but it wasn't hidden in the same way that Norgothrond and Gondolin were hidden. Like, Morgoth knew where it was, which he didn't with the Noldorian kingdoms. He just couldn't get into it. And this was because it was protected by a force known as the Girdle of Melian. Indeed, the name Doriath itself means Land of the Fence or Land of the Girdle. Before the Girdle went up, it was called Eglador, if anyone cares. The Girdle was a magical fence that Melian put up encircling 2 of the main forests, the Forest of Neldoreth and the Forest of Region. It was put up as a response to Morgoth launching a huge attack on Thingol and his people after his return from Valinor. It killed a huge amount of elves and all the Lyquende that were there. So he withdrew everyone into the forests of Neldoreth and Region, and then his queen Melian the Maya did her magic and put up the enchanted wall to protect them. And she could do this because she was a very powerful Maya. The girdle could not be passed by anyone who wasn't like within the will of the king or queen to pass safely into Doriath. There is one exception to this, and it was because of Doom, and the exception was Beren. Thingol's city was an underground cave called Menegroth, 1,000 caves, that was delved by dwarves from Belegost. Menegroth was also protected by the fact that it had one singular entrance, which was a bridge over the Ysgaldwyn River. Dwarves did most of the work on constructing Menegroth, but the elves did help. It was said that the pillars of the halls imitated beech trees, which seemed to be the elves' favourite kind of tree. The halls were lit by golden lanterns, there were many silver fountains, figurines of animals, and it's even said that nightingales and other birds lived within the caves. It was said to be the most beautiful palace a king had ever owned east of the sea, i.e. outside Valinor itself. Fun fact, Thranduil, who was Cinder of Doriath himself, based his halls on Mirkwood on Thingol's halls of Menegroth. Unfortunately, Doriath was not to last forever, although unlike the other 2 hidden kingdoms, it wasn't Morgoth that caused its downfall. Its downfall came once Thingol was in possession of the Silmaril and the Nauglamir, a necklace of the dwarves that had been made for Finrod Felagund. Thingol got it into his head that he wanted to put the Silmaril in the Nauglamir. He got some dwarven craftsmen in to pay them to do it. By the time they'd finished the work, they wanted the Nauglamir with Silmaril as payment. This enraged Thingol, who in turn said some very, he said some very racist stuff to the dwarves, and then the dwarves attacked him, and there was a fight, and they killed Thingol. To cut it shorter, it led to the sacking of Doriath. Thingol was dead. Melian, in grief at the loss of her husband, left Middle-earth, which meant the girdle was gone, the protection was gone. But even though the girdle of Melian was gone, it still wasn't Morgoth who destroyed Doriath. After the sack of Doriath and the killing of Thingol, Luthien and Beren's son Dior, Thingol's heir, came to Doriath, and it was restored for a while. But then Luthien and Beren died, and the Silmaril went to Dior in Doriath. And now there was no Luthien, who was too powerful for them in the way. There was no girdle of Melian, and a certain little oath started prodding at the minds of a few certain elves. Doriath fell to a kinslaying by the sons of Feanor. Celegorm was killed by Dior, which I think is poetic justice after what Celegorm tried to do to his mother. On the other hand, Dior was also killed by Celegorm. And yeah, the hidden kingdom of Doriath was no more. And I think Doriath's story annoys me the most of the 3. No, it doesn't, because that bloody bridge. Okay, but it's quite annoying, because Doriath was the most well protected. Like, Morgoth, unless Morgoth had come there himself, no one was going to get through the girdle of Melian. Doriath was safe. And they threw it away.